There is a global rejection of leftist ideas going on right now. I mean, a global rejection. You look at Argentina, you look at Italy, you look at the Netherlands, right? And you look at what just happened in the EU elections over the weekend. France's Emmanuel Macron, Germany's Olaf Scholz, both huge setbacks. As far right of center political parties have gained massive amounts of seats and taken control. Marine Le Pen, among others. Look, people can only take so much of this left-wing ideology before they say enough, and that's what's happened all across Europe. They are shocked. France calling for elections in July. I bring this to your attention because there's a rejection of the policies here in America, too. Open borders, Bidenomics, endless wars in Ukraine and elsewhere. It just makes no sense. My next guest, Dr. Sherry O'Donnell, is a leading medical doctor and United States Senate candidate from the state of Michigan. Doctor, nice to see you again.
Good morning, Steve. Good to see you, and thanks for having me on.
It's time to sanitize the Senate is one of the things you say out there, and I don't disagree. It's time to clean up the Senate. I don't want money going to Ukraine endlessly. I don't want Bidenomics and open borders. I want an America that I can look at and say, hey, we're sane. Sane. That's what the Europeans are doing. I think America's not too far behind. What say you?
Absolutely. I think America is not far behind. But first off, Steve, thanks for having me on. But when we watch the elections recently in Europe and the fact that France needs to do a snap election tells us that they are very definitely going right, and they are very definitely well aware that they've gone too far left. It was a sweet victory for them, and I think America will follow. Because as I'm on the campaign trail, Steve, people are saying we have gone too far. And you're exactly right. We need sanity back. We don't need to be transgendering children. We don't need to have the open border that is affecting us nationally and affecting us in so many ways. Drugs, security, national security-wise, elections. Steve, it's just gone way too far, and people are saying... It
certainly has. You know, but the driving issue in the EU elections, I think, is one of the top two driving issues here. The top issue, illegal immigration into Europe. I mean, it's number one. These people are getting overrun by people from all sorts of places that have no respect for their country, for their heritage, for their people, for their citizens, for the rule of law, or anything else. And we're seeing that here. You're seeing criminal, in fact, I've got a headline here from Michigan, where you're from. Mother and daughter killed in fatal M53 car crash, illegal alien charge. It says illegal immigrant here, but I say illegal alien because it's legally proper. So here it is, another person killed in Michigan by an illegal alien, right?
Yes, another two deaths. And this vehicle was going so fast and so recklessly, it literally cut the other vehicle in half. And yes, and Steve, as you know, I've been endorsed by Tom Homan, who is the former director of ICE. I've been down to the border in 5 points of location. And Steve, I can tell you, I've gone to 35 different countries all on short-term missions, and I can assure you what I saw at the border is a lot like what I see at the refugee camps across the world. We've got to stop that. This is a Biden crisis as much as it is a border crisis. And to sit and to be able to understand what's happening, every state is a border state right now, Steve, inclusive of Michigan. That's not the only deaths that have occurred right here in Michigan because of illegal immigrants. Not long ago, we had a murder, a just horrendous murder in Grand Rapids, where I was in Algonac. Algonac is an open border, and they're seeing illegals. When I was with Eileen Tesh, she had illegals coming up through her yard in Algonac. We've got to close the border, Steve. I'm the only one that has a plan to close the border. I have a 21-point plan that when I met and discussed with Homan, he said that if I was correct, he would endorse me. If I was incorrect, he would educate me.
Well, you got endorsed, so apparently you were correct on that. I also want to ask you about this revelation from yesterday, because Donald Trump has said for years that he said, I need 10,000 National Guard troops in Washington before January the 6th. Nancy Pelosi, he said, denied that request. And now we have Nancy Pelosi on tape, released yesterday by the House Select Subcommittee on Oversight, where Nancy Pelosi says it is my responsibility, on tape. This tape has been hidden from the public. Here it is. It's an admission by Nancy Pelosi that Donald Trump was right. Now what?
The weaponization of what's gone on with that is just absolutely nuts. There was not an insurrection. Trump did not incite an insurrection. We see that with also Pastor Prolowitz in Canada. The two-tiered judicial system has to absolutely be stopped. And as Donald Trump has said several times, they're not only after me, they're after you. I believe that to be the case, not only in the judicial system that we can no longer trust. You know, when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, it is Pelosi at the helm. It has been the left at the helm. And even right now, Biden wants to act like he's the one, that he's the hero one, and he's going to close the border when his recent package was clearly not closing the border. What we've got to do is stop the weaponization of political opponents, and make certain that we go back to Constitution, go back to law and order, go back to what's right in America. And we've gone so far left, but people are getting tired of it, as you said earlier at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, it's so bad that in California, I was reading about Governor Newsom is trying to reject a ballot initiative that would roll back this allowance of thieves in department stores and so forth. If you steal up to $950, you're good to go. California residents want to repeal that, and the Democrats say, no, we shouldn't have that on the ballot. It is really remarkable how far the Democrats will go to roll back the rights of regular American citizens in favor of illegals or criminals or whatever. It is, as you said, Sherry, time for a return to law and order. I agree with you on that.
And, you know, Steve, I am the one that's going to represent a fresh start. People are tired of the recycled politicians, of same old. And what I represent to Michigan right now and to Senate is that fresh start. Look, I am one of we the people. I own my own business. I feel the chokehold of inflation. I feel the chokehold of the disorder and the lawlessness right now that's going on. When we were defunding the police a couple years ago, I brought the police together to say that we stand with the blue, and we had community unity services to show the community this is where we stand. And I brought churches and the police officers together, and we had worship services to show that. Where we've gone right now is absolutely insanity. We're imploding from within, but the American people are awakening. And it's beautiful to see on the campaign. You know, Steve, a question that I often ask is how many people are involved more in politics since COVID? And I can guarantee more than half the audience absolutely is. And that's everywhere I go. Because we have awakened and we're saying no more.
All right. So the question is, how do you win August the 6th is the primary? 4 candidates, I believe. Your signatures are in, right? You're good to go and you're ready to compete on August the 6th. How do you win that date?
So, Steve, it's been a beautiful thing. Some of the counties in Michigan are coming along and doing a precinct delegate endorsement of their candidates, all the way from county treasurer all the way up to U.S. Senate. And I am so far ahead on those. Ottawa County, which is an important county, Kent County, 36 counties in the UP in northern Michigan are coming along and endorsing me, and then their precinct delegates are our boots on the ground. We will win this by the boots on the ground because I do represent that fresh start. I represent some sanity and I understand what it is.
And real quickly, I want people to know where they can find you. What's your website, real quick?
DocSherry2024.com.
DocSherry2024.com. If you like what you hear, you can check out Doc Sherry right there. DocSherry2024.com. Doctor, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Steve. Always a good pleasure to see you.
There you have it. The primary in Michigan for that open seat, August the 6th. We'll keep a close eye on it here on the Steve Gruber Show. I'll be right back.